Back in the 1940s, an entire crew of sailors lost their lives under mysterious circumstances. No perps on board, and no signs of harm. So what the heck happened? Well, it all began with a distress signal in Morse code. This ship was called the Ourang Medan, and the distress signal is as follows. SOS from Ourang Medan. We float. All officers including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge. Probably whole of crew dead. Then a burst of confused Morse code, and then the chilling words, I die, and then silence. The crew of the Silver Star responded to the distress call, and eventually found the undamaged Ourang Medan floating on open water. They boarded, and found a confusing and horrifying scene. Everyone on board had perished, cause unknown. There was even a dog on board, which had sadly also passed on. The interesting thing is the position that each crew member was found in. Everyone apart from the Morse code operator was found on their backs in a defensive position, a look of abject horror frozen onto their faces. None of the sailors on board had any visible signs of harm, yet their state of decay was curious. They were decomposing way too fast. The next moment, smoke billowed up from the hold. There was a fire on board. The crew of the Silver Star acted quickly and managed to escape the Ourang Medan just before it exploded, and sank to the bottom of the sea. All the evidence that could shed a light on this mystery, lost with the ship. It's an interesting story, right? Sadly, it's just a story. There's no record at all of a ship called the Ourang Medan. It never existed. Case closed, right? I mean, it's not like the governments of the world would ever try to hide anything from us. They would never destroy records. Same goes for big companies. They would never hide anything from us just to save their own reputation. Of course not. That would be silly. Of course, there are theories all over the internet. To save myself from contamination, I didn't look at many, because I wanted to formulate my own more fun theories. Here are 3 of my favorites, and 2 of them are actually plausible. Imagine this. A powerful government develops a new and terrifying weapon. They want to test this thing now, but prefer to keep it off their own soil. It could raise questions. What if they had contacts at a certain company and managed to buy an entire ship, all lives included, for this test? From there, it would be quite easy to slip a spy onto the ship in the form of a new crew member. The spy could then wait until they were far enough away from shore so he could conduct all the testing he needed. He would then write up his findings, set an explosive charge on the ship, and evacuate by helicopter. Unfortunately for him, 1 crew member escaped just long enough to send out that distress call. Realizing what happened, the spy quickly wrote up his findings and called for evacuation. But before his helicopter could arrive, the ship was found and boarded. Desperate now, the spy set the charge, called off evacuation, and the charge malfunctioned, setting fire to the oil drums instead. This gave the crew of the Silver Star the chance to escape. Once the fire burned hot enough, the charge did go off, taking all of the evidence and the spy to the bottom of the ocean. This would cause the government to cease testing for a little while, to avoid being linked back to the Ourang Medan. But who knows, maybe these tests have been conducted on other vessels since. How would we know? What if this crew was made part of a test by a large medical company? Maybe they were given some new experimental drug in order to test its effects on humans. Maybe the doctor on board was given strict instructions to destroy all evidence should anything go wrong. This large medical company then had all the records of the ship destroyed to save them from the resulting hellstorm of media attention that would surely follow. Maybe this drug caused horrible hallucinations so bad that it stopped the heart of the crew members from sheer terror. Maybe what that Morse code operator saw coming for him was all in his mind. This could explain the lack of records and the fire. See, the doctor could have been hiding on the ship when it was found, and was already busy setting that fire. The explosion could have been due to oil drums or the fuel that was on board the ship. All in all, you have to admit it's a rather viable theory, but without any evidence, it's just a theory. We still don't know all the creatures that lurk beyond the deep. Who's to say this wasn't the work of an as yet undiscovered creature? Imagine a being similar to a siren that stalks the deep seas. Once she spots a ship, she boards it somehow. Maybe she pretends to be a maiden in distress, or she has supernatural abilities that we don't know of. Once on board, she enchants the men with her hypnotic beauty. As soon as the men are weak in the knee and slow in the mind, she transforms into a terrifying monster and sucks the life force from their bodies. This could explain the rapid decomposition and the looks of terror. And maybe the fire was set by this creature to cover her crimes up, so she could stay a mystery of the deep, undiscovered to this day, patiently waiting for the next opportunity to feast. Or maybe it was something older, much older. Leviathan, the horrifying monster mentioned all the way back in the ancient Bible. Perhaps it decided it needed a break from patrolling the gates of hell and came up for a little snack. Or maybe that's just a fun story. I mean, it doesn't explain why the records went missing. So what is really going on with the Ourang Medan? Sadly, I think it's just an urban legend. Yes, these legends are usually based in fact, but in this case, I think the fact will be far less interesting than the fiction. It's a fun story though, and I enjoy telling it. If you want to hear more stories, theories, or even learn something, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.